Hey, welcome, Kip. Welcome, SpeedGaming 3, to a exciting triple bingo match between PapaSchmo and Toasty for this multi-category tournament. How are you doing tonight, Kip?
I'm doing fantastic, Rumble. I'm really excited to be doing some commentary for our multi-category tournament. Even more excited that you and I get to share the duties together, and for the triple excitement, if you will, we get probably the most fun thing to watch in the opening week, a triple bingo match. So we got Toasty, who I believe is I think the 28th seed of our tournament, against Papa Schmo, who I believe is the 58th, if I'm not mistaken. And they've elected to veto any percent and 100%. So here we are with triple bingo. So good luck to both runners. This should be fun. Just so everybody is aware of how it works in this particular tournament, anytime there's a triple bingo match, the runners do not see the card at all until the timer starts. So there you go. For the triple excitement, if you will, we get probably the most fun thing to watch in the opening week.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting. I know Toasty, I believe, vetoed any percent. Are we sharing vetoes? I guess I don't know. I haven't gotten any of these yet. Maybe that's hidden information I'm not supposed to share. But Toasty did veto any percent, and Papa Schmo vetoed 100%. It's actually a little bit surprising to me. Any percent is with Toasty being the higher seed, he'd have a pretty big advantage on any percent. But then again, Toasty probably really enjoys playing bingo and was not worried about playing bingo against Papa Schmo at all. It's a lot of fun, so I gotta respect him for that.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. I think I probably would have done the same thing in his situation. So I think we're in for a hype matchup here. These bingo cards are really fascinating with triple bingo. Have you done many?
I have done exactly 0 triple bingos. I've done some accidental triple bingos while doing double anti-bingo, but I've never actually intentionally done triple bingo.
Well, let me tell you real quick because we had our dab tournament this past sort of summer is kind of the primary time that it occurred, and had a lot of people from the community doing races. It was a lot of fun. Kind of got used to the format of dab, which is a lot different than triple. And I've just recently started doing a few triples for fun, and I think it's pretty tough. At first, you would think it wouldn't be as hard because you are never forced into a specific row. But the problem is that now you have to do a third, row, column, or diagonal, and so that ends up having a huge impact on how you could potentially route. So anyway, I think these things are pretty interesting. I think we saw a really good matchup last night with Maniacal racing. Was it Lomian maybe? They had a great triple bingo match, and the card was pretty nasty. So let's take a quick look at this card while they're making their way to Zebus. What do we got going here?
Yeah, I definitely see a few kind of free squares, if you will, but that's the case for pretty much every bingo card. I notice a few that contradict each other. So we've got collect spring ball and skip ice beam, along with collect ice beam and skip speed booster. So those column 3, column 4 are both unable to be combined, along with row 3 and row 1. We do have spring ball on there twice, so if they're looking for some synergy there, they could do row 1 and row 2.
Yep,
Chat thinking
excellent
this
options.
bingo card is pretty terrible, and I'm not seeing a lot of great synergy. So I guess we'll see what our runners decide to do.
Yeah, a few of them. I mean, not to beat a dead horse here, but most of the time you're trying to avoid doing lower Norfair if you can. So some of the ones that always stick out to me are things like collect all 4 Norfair energy tanks. That's a really nasty one, because you'd have to kill Ridley and pick up the Firefleet E-Tank to get those, as well as kill Croc. I mean, you have to kill Croc and Ridley for that one. That's probably one of the nastiest cards in all of bingo in terms of time commitment.
Yeah, that cell, that row 5 column 1, is also pretty terrible, since you either are collecting gravity suit and skipping Varia, and also skipping probably wave beam, or maybe skipping charge beam if you want to go the ammo route, or you're going to do that column one with it, in which case, you're skipping either ice beam or speed booster, which, man, that just seems like a really terrible, terrible one to do. So I think you're right. Our runners will likely be trying to skip over Norfair here.
Yeah, and maybe other people can process information faster than I can, but one thing about Dab was that, you got to study the card for a few minutes before you assigned your opponent, and then by the time you got assigned yours, you at least had some familiarity with, what else was out there. So typically by the time I was like done with the climb or so, I would have a pretty clear indication of which two I wanted to do. One was forced and the other one was picked. In this case, man, trying to figure out which three you want to do when you don't get to look at the card at all until you start, sometimes you don't end up actually making a full choice about what to do until much later. So this is a pretty tough situation. Toasty got trolled really bad right there. Didn't get a single missile drop on the first salvo from BT there.
We're talking about skipping lower Norfair, but if you actually look at like column 1 and column 4, collect all 4 Norfair energy tanks, defeat Ridley, collect ice beam, skip speed booster. Like, collect ice beam and skip speed booster is essentially the same tile as collect only one of ice beam and speed booster. Defeating Ridley is essentially the same as collect all 4 Norfair energy tanks. There might be some good synergy with that column 1 and column 4, although 30 power bombs is going to have you running around a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what you just said reminded me of another thing to consider in terms of triple bingo. Pretty big difference in triple and dab in terms of kind of routing opportunities, because in dab there were select situations that would come up where you could actually justify potentially not getting gravity suit. Most of the time, and this is just from my personal experience and practice and prep for the tournament, most of the time that meant that you had to do a really dangerous lower Norfair to satisfy certain things with only the various suit, which made it really aggressive and risky. But it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to have the possibility to even skip gravity in a triple bingo because of how many how many things you have to do on the board, and usually some of it's going to line up with Meridia. So I would expect a lot more people to go Fantune first if they can in this particular format.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Fantune first, as we see, is certainly not free. And it'd be interesting here to see if Toasty, he is going back. He's going to pick up that Brinstar reserve. I like this call, even if you're not sure if you're doing row 1, column 1, or top left, bottom right, just because it's a pretty free pickup. And then if you end up missing like a good synergy, you've already got the tank. It's also picking up these extra Brinstar missiles, so could be looking at that row 1. What do you think about, well, never mind. Ugh. Collect Spring Ball, skip Ice Beam. Definitely wouldn't go with column 4 for sure, since that would contradict.
Yeah. And I gotta admit, man, even as just doing the commentary here and not even running and having to think about doing the strats, I'm still a little overwhelmed by trying to process that much information. Even in the commentary role is hard. I mean, I really believe that triple bingo that's what makes it fun. Any kind of bingo, the fun is to have to really use your brain and solve the puzzle. But I think that I've only what I would call nailed a card almost to perfection in terms of what I feel would be the fastest thing for me to do, maybe 10% of the time. I mean, it's really hard to figure it all out on the fly.
It's very, very easy to look at a row, column, or diagonal and get 4 out of 5 and forget about that 5th one and feel like you've got everything nailed. And then as you're finishing up, you're like, oh, I need 60 missiles. Or, oh, I can't get speed booster. This is going to be much harder.
Yeah, and another thing is you just made a good point about collecting items, because sometimes your philosophy might be, well, I want to path the least, right? But then sometimes if you do that, you end up having to do collection and you end up with just tons of time and fanfare. So it's tricky, man. It's really tricky.
Got Toasty picking up charge beam there.
Yeah, PapaSchmo, unless I'm mistaken, it's hard. I'm kind of losing track of both players, but did he pick up some of the missiles in, like the regular missiles behind the Brinstar Reserve? Because every other missile pack he's picked up, but he skipped the one in Big Pink at the top. So I don't know if that was something he intended to do or not.
Yeah, he did pick up ones behind the reserve, and he's debating whether or not he wants to pick up charge beam here.
This is another great thing about bingo. It's like literally one of the only times you're going to see Super Metroid players standing still.
And he, I thought he was going to skip it. Then he went back down, decided he was going to pick it up.
He's committed. He had cold feet about charge beam for a minute, but now he's committing himself to a life with the powers of charge beam. I think that was a good call.
Yeah, I think so too. If you're going to skip wave or charge, I mean, wave beam doesn't do a whole lot for you without charge anyway, so no real reason to pick up wave beam in that instance, I think.
Oh baby, do we have some potential spore spawn action about to happen here on PapaSchmo's side?
I can't think of another reason to go up here. Oh, hopefully he doesn't take. Looks like he's gonna go get some health. Nope. Just gonna be safe here.
And then we got Toasty picking up the Spazer beam. So
that's gonna just be firepower for him. Like there's no tile for Spazer, so at least unless I missed it. So he's just doing that to have a better beam, probably for boss fights. I would assume he didn't go up to wreck ship, which makes me think he's gonna go get Varia.
One thing I will say about the collect only one of wave beam or charge beam tile is, and I'd be happy to be wrong. Anyone can make an argument, but I just can't imagine if you don't sync that with something else. Like if there's isn't something else where it's like you have to collect wave beam or something that you want to do. I can't imagine picking up wave instead of charge would ever be the best choice. I mean, charge just has so much utility and it's like right there.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you can't do the gate glitch and you need it to... No, even then, I think you should get charged and go around.
Yeah, I do too. Toasty, you about to grab that various suit. Okay, let me ask you this. I'm trying to think in advance about what people are doing, right? Do you think that Toasty... It could just be like a comfort choice, but at the same time, I wonder if the wreck ship reserve tank is going to play a part in either one of these runners' choices, because technically speaking, if you were going to do that, then you're going to want to run old route, right? You're going to want to grab Varia, go do the Norfair cleanup, get the speed booster, and then head up to fight Phantoon and get the reserve tank as you know, right before you pick up Gravity. So I wonder if that is playing a role here in his decision to kill Kraid first.
Yeah, I think so. That's going to likely eliminate that collect gravity suit and skip Varia, which gets rid of 3 possibilities of him doing now. So he can't do top, left, bottom, right, column 5, or row 5. I don't know if he was thinking about doing them, but he's certainly not doing them anymore.
Dude, by the way, look, can we talk a little bit more about some of the individual tiles that we hate?
Sure.
Collect all 40 criteria missiles. I hate that tile. Collect X energy tanks and 11X reserve tanks is an awful tile. X-ray scope is awful, not because it's actually hard, but mainly just because I hate X-ray. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm an X-ray hater myself. Everybody that likes X-ray only likes it for all the broken things it does, and I don't find it enjoyable to go out of bounds.
I agree. Props to PapaSchmo cleaning up that spore spawn, and Toasty in the meantime grabbing that sweet Kraid tank as a really good energy tank to pick.
So Toasty is not doing bottom left to top right. Sorry, top left to bottom right. I know my directions. Uh, which means he's likely doing row 1. Oh, well, he's going over to Ice Beam. Or no, that's high jump. I know what my rooms are.
Somebody needs to lay off the Final Fantasy VI randomizer and
Oh.
maybe run through a quick old route. No, I'm just kidding.
It's so good, though.
Unfortunately, Toasty found the high jump boots and not the economizer in this room.
Oh, man.
But
What you really want is those paladin shields, let me tell you.
yeah, sorry. All right, sorry everybody. We'll get back to the Super Metroid instead of the Final Fantasy VI humor. But yeah, high jump boots. I have found that item, unless you're doing a skip high jump boots tile, that's going to be an item you get almost every time. I mean, the amount of utility you get from high jump boots is probably, in some cases, higher than any other item in the game for bingo. Now, I will obviously point out that, you know, speed booster is incredibly powerful too, but it just kind of depends on like what else you have to do. And with the speed at which you can pick up high jump boots, it just makes it so easy and so powerful.
Yeah, I think other than I think the more obvious choices like gravity, obviously opens up probably over half the board if you really think about it in the vanilla game. But high jump, for instance, right here where Toasty is, a lot of people sleep on they skip high jump thinking, oh, well, I could, that's okay, I can do bomb jumps and other stuff. But then you get to Bull Mountain, and you're like, oh, this is not a fast way to go anywhere without high jump. There's a second reserve tank for Toasty, pointing towards that Kip hated tile of X energy tanks and 11 minus X reserve tanks. Or was there another? There wasn't another reserve one.
I don't think so, but I like that call. That's a pretty fast one to pick up. Of all the energy tanks and reserves in the game, that's a solid one to get for that particular goal.
Yep. And if he's going to get Wreck Ship Reserve, he's going to come down here and get speed and probably wave too. He's probably doing row 4.
He can't get wave unless he wants to. I mean, he can, but he would have to give up that tile that he got at the bottom.
That's true.
In the meantime, PapaSchmo, I think, did we get double stand-up glitch on Crave tonight? You know, I don't remember everything about my first playthrough of Super Metroid. I do remember a lot, though. I was very young. I was like maybe 10 or so. But I definitely remember fighting Kraid, and I beat him the first try because of those I didn't know at the time, but the super missiles are overpowered, so I just remember feeling all accomplished. So Kraid's a fun one, especially casually.
Man, commentary for double anti-bingo is actually a lot easier because you could tell you knew what they had to do. So trying to find a row that synergizes is a lot easier. Here, they're doing at least, let's see, what's the minimum number you can do? 13 tiles, I think.
I believe so.
Like, that's over half the board. They're doing over half the board. How am I supposed to figure out what they're doing?
Oh, 12. I'm sorry. 12 is the minimum. And then if you did like a row, a column, and a diagonal, at least I think my math is correct on that. And then if you did like 2 rows and 1 column, I think that would be 13. Is that right? Yeah, I think so.
So 12. So just under half then.
Did Toasty grab wave just now?
He did.
Okay, so I guess we'll mark that one off. So clearly, well, now that actually calls into question whether or not he's interested in Wreck Ship Reserve, because at this point, the only way he could do that one is if he did top right to bottom left, or I'm sorry, bottom left to top right, or row 4. But if he was going to do row 4, I would have maybe assumed he would have killed Spore Spawn already. So maybe the Wreck Ship Reserve is not factoring into his play. Or maybe it still is. To be honest, man, like you said, it's really hard. It's hard to know what runners are thinking, and I'm really hesitant to critique a runner's choices too, because a lot of times they're making choices that are actually very, very good for them, even if they're different from what I would have done. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also will be the last person to criticize any runner, because making this decision while you're playing the game is super hard. It's much harder than it seems. Super Metroid is an incredibly technical game. Every room you're focused on doing the right movement, and so you're not. It's hard to make those really great decisions in the heat of the moment.
I agree. And that, like we said earlier, that to me, that's what makes this so fascinating. You know what I mean? Like, to me, this is what is the fun part of not only doing a bingo, but watching one, because there's all that added pressure.
So he's picking up Croc E-Tank. Do you think he's going to go down the lower Norfair?
Oh my God. I don't know, but real quick, Toasty, my man, getting that sweet spike suit on the Croc spikes. Nice job.
Maybe he will use that to get to spring ball without gravity.
He'd have to hold that. Man, it is so incredibly hard to hold.
Never mind.
Yeah, he's already used it. In the meantime, PapaSchmo is grabbing the cathedral missiles here. So maybe he's doing some more missile collection, for certain numbers. But to go back to your question, I think you might be right, Rumble. I think we might be looking at some lower Norfair action, maybe.
Like a column 2? No, you can't do column 2, though. Like, that seems really... row 3, I guess? Row 3 and row 4?
I don't know.
But he didn't do Spore Spawn, which means he'd have to go back and do it, but maybe that's okay.
All I know is the excitement about that spike suit just woke up my new puppy.
Oh.
So now she's yawning and looking at me like, hey, what are you doing? So at some point, I'm going to try not to, but at some point I might end up having to step away for a minute to take her out for a little bit of a break.
Yeah, it's no problem. I can be confused all by myself. Oh, right. Toasty cannot do row 3 because he got speed booster. Looks like PapaSchmo is also going to get speed booster. So nobody is doing row 3. Nobody's doing column 4.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, I guess we'll see what Toasty's next choice is here. It looks like he's going to head up, I assume, to the wreck ship location and start to get whatever he wants to get there.
He did pick up grapple, which means like he might, row 1 would require him to get grapple in order to get spring ball. He could also pick up X-ray scope, so maybe he's looking at row 1 and row 2.
I will point out that. Yeah, well, actually, I guess you're right. Now that I think about it, the X-ray climb that I've seen Maniacal use to get to spring ball, I think still requires ice beam, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I'm just not super familiar with all the X-ray stuff. So I guess to do that one, you'd either have to crystal flash clip, or use the grapple beam, which the vast majority of players are not going to crystal flash into.
Yeah. So I think here's my guess on what Toasty's doing. Oh, don't crash. Okay. I think he's doing row 1, row 2, and column 3.
Okay, Tracy does confirm that X-ray climb does not need ice to get to spring ball. Although I personally, I'm sure other people have used it in like SMZ3 and stuff, but I haven't seen many people do that in a explicit Super Metroid situation. So I don't know if that's something that's on his mind or whatever. But either way, I mean, he's got grapple beam, so I'm sure that would be the method he would use if he was going to get spring ball at this point. PapaSchmo is heading out. He also picked up the weight beam.
He did. Which means nobody's doing that column 2, which makes sense. Nobody wants to go down to Ridley, as we said. We should have stuck with our guns. Nobody wants to do column 2 or row 4 or row 5 or column 1 or bottom left, top right. Basically, there's only 3 choices left, and it's row 1, row 2, and column 3.
I think the real question here, Rumble, is have either of us been right about anything yet?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think we've got a
100%
single
wrong.
thing right yet.
Toasty is probably going to leave X-Ray and then go straight down to Lower Norfair and kill Ridley just to prove me wrong.
Okay, on that note, I apologize to everyone. Rumble, if you don't mind flying solo for just a minute, I am going to take Samus outside.
Yeah, no problem. Toasty would do it. Toasty is probably listening to commentary going, what is the next thing I can do to confuse the commentators? Go kill Spore Spawn. That would confuse me. Spore Spawn, I think, is an interesting choice for PapaSchmo as well. Both rows and columns that include defeat Spore Spawn require killing Ridley. I guess technically you could get Plasma instead of killing Ridley. So there's that. X-ray climb. You can X-ray climb to Bubble Mountain without supers. Oh, from the bottom door. Yeah. Nice. Nice Alpha Spark from PapaSchmo. By the way, I have not been paying attention to how many missiles and supers everybody has. I think this might be 40 Brinstar for Toasty. Could be wrong. I'm not sure where he's at. Oh, all right, here we go. Hold on. Now, for 30 power bombs, that means Toasty can skip 4 of them. Likely skipping the PBs of Shame. Maybe Ediku? I don't know. What do you guys think he's going to skip? There's some Meridia ones that will be very on his way once he is heading to Spring Ball. PapaSchmo also picking up these missiles. He's got to be close to... I know he picked up 5 at least, or 10 at least in Upper Norfair. He's got to be close to his 40 Brinstar missiles as well. Toasty coming up to Fantoon at the 28-minute mark. I still don't know why Toasty picked up Spazer, unless it's just because he likes Spazer. I guess it does make for a fairly comfy Fantoon fight if you're not going to do X Factors or Dopplers. Toasty has X-Ray. Oh my god, that's my fault. Totally my fault, Aster. We even talked about X-Ray. Yeah, comms are tracking, and it is rough. And my co-comms is taking out a puppy. So it's just me. Yes, it's right, I did say that. Thank you, Woody. I need all the help I can get. That's a nice X Factor. Apparently he disabled Spazer. I will definitely ask him why he picked that up. Unless... I'm not crazy, right? There's no Spazer anymore on the board.
Okay, thank you. I am back.
No problem. We have established that I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay.
So I was just commentating that Toasty turned off his spacer for Fantoon, and I still have no idea why he picked up spacer, unless he was thinking about going down and then changed his mind. Or maybe he thought it was a randomizer and that he might find gravity there.
So I can fill you guys in on what happened. Toasty elected, as the higher seed, he elected to actually go ahead and veto first. So he vetoed any percent. And then PapaSchmo vetoed second and vetoed 100%. And here we are at Triple Bingo. I think Polar Bear Bunny pointed out that we might have column 1, row 2 for PapaSchmo. Did he? Yeah, I don't think he grabbed ice, did he?
Nope. And he did grab speed, so thank you very much. PapaSchmo, Enraging Fantoon, was doing some really nice Doppler strats prior to that, so unfortunately it looks like he was off by 1, which is, I don't know if he is a software engineer, but if he is, he definitely knows what that is.
But he's staying alive, and that's the most important thing. Man, I hate it when Fantoon does that. When he gives you the right slow on the second, or third round or whatever. That's a really troll pattern to get.
Yeah, nobody can do column 2 or row 5. Nobody can do column 5 or top left, bottom right. Because both of them have gotten Varia and Charge. And nobody can do row 3 or column 4 because they both got Speed Booster. Like, just by process of elimination, I feel like we're down to row 1 and row 2 for both of them. And then maybe column 1 or column 3, I think, are the only ones left that are even possible at this point.
Yeah, some of the options are drying up. Have we discussed all the different finish-ins on this particular card yet?
We have not. There are 2 of them, if I can count correctly.
Yeah, and that, in a way, by default, does adjust how you have to look at what you could potentially finish. Because, if you do one of those, then you obviously have to ignore another row or column or whatever. Toasty did finally pick up that wreck ship reserve tank that we discussed earlier. So looks like him getting gravity and then doing the Upper North Fair cleanup did lead to that result. And now he's grabbing that sweet gravity suit.
Yeah, and PapaSchmo is picking up his 20th Super Missiles. Yes, Toasty got beta PBs.
Yeah, that can actually, the beta PVs can be pretty scary in a way, especially if you do Fantoon first. Like if you're doing a Fantoon first route, but you also want to collect, multiple power bombs and you grab those big hoppers in that room those things hit like a truck. They're not extremely difficult to avoid, but I mean, at the same time, mistakes can happen. So just got to be real careful when you're looking at that early in the game.
Yep, it looks like PapaSchmo is going to take a safety save before heading to the spiky room of death. I like that call.
Toasty with some reverse Hellway action here. That's one of the, I might even would argue that that's like one of the scariest looking rooms in the game, just especially as from a casual perspective. Oh no, PapaSchmo.
Good thing he took that safety save.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a perfect example of why saving can be your friend.
And I'm guessing Toasty's going to go pick up some more E-Tanks over in Big Pink. Maybe visit the Edacoons.
Speaking of scary rooms, just in terms of looking scary, the one PapaSchmo's in right now is definitely another.
Oh,
Pardon my
careful.
dog squeaking, by the way.
Oh, that's adorable. In fact, if you could put your headphones on your dog, that would probably better at predicting what these runners are doing than we are.
I gotta say, I like PapaSchmo's. He did a really cool strat right there where he did a little D-boost in that room before the energy tank. That was pretty neat. Toasty, meanwhile, continuing to pick up enough tanks to eventually get that collect 11 energy or reserve tanks. So grabbing the waterway.
And that also gives him 5 E-tanks. Oh, careful, Schmo. The fish do a lot of damage.
You could tell by that animation as well. He was in the middle of that turn. Ouch.
So Toasty currently has 5 and 3, if I remember right. Now 6 and 3. He needs 2 more tanks before he's got his 11.
Yeah, I do want to take a moment to give a shout out to PapaSchmo. Hold on a second. As well as several other people in this tournament. We had a lot of people that entered late, who, at first didn't want to join because they were a little nervous about, not knowing enough categories and stuff like that. But then, just stepped up to the plate and was like, hey, whatever, I'll do my best. And so it's really cool to have players like PapaSchmo in the tournament. We really encourage everybody to participate.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody started somewhere, right? And I think participating in these tournaments, especially multi-category, which is going to force you to do a lot of varied strategies, is really admirable and gets you better faster when you've got to figure out things like GT Classic and Triple Bingo.
Yeah, the cool thing about bingo is really, obviously there are some tiles that are harder than others, but generally speaking, if you can at least just get through like, an 80% run or maybe a rando, regardless of how high your skill is in the game, you should be able to complete most bingo cards. It's just, I call it a choose your own adventure. Even if it takes a while, you can eventually get there if you just keep knocking things off the list. So definitely cool to see people running it.
So I think PapaSchmo is collecting the criteria missiles, I'm assuming. That's why he's picking those up. Trying to get 25. I don't know if he got 40 Bryn Star yet or not. Missiles are probably the hardest thing to track when it's like, hey, did they get 8 Bryn Star missiles?
Right.
How am I supposed to keep up with that?
Sometimes it's hard for the runners to remember what they got too. I've been guilty of that one.
Those darn croc exit missiles that I always forget exist. And then I like reverse count my upper Norfair missiles to be like, did I get, or my Norfair missiles, did I get 50? Yeah, I didn't skip any. Yeah, okay, I got 50. And then I was, oh yeah, it's croc.
Yeah, I always make the classic mistake of trying to do the tile where it's like collect, I forget what it is. It's like a certain number of Norfair missiles, and then I always think that I can do it without going to lower Norfair and without going to croc, and then somewhere around halfway through, I'm like, wait, I can't do that. And now it's going to take me way longer than I thought.
Oh, Toasty does indeed have 25 plus power bombs. I can tell that because he has 21, and in Super Metroid, you always get power bombs in multiples of 5. So there you go.
Correct. Toasty got the wave gate on the way up, right?
Yes.
And And so far, he's got 3 of the reserves. I think he has every reserve except for Meridia, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, he has 7 and 3 right now. So he needs one more. He's got to likely finish in Mama Turtle Room, so he'll have that one to get for his last D-Tank. And he'll have Crab Supers for his 20th Super. And 2 Power Bombs somewhere. Oh no, he just needs 1 more Power Bomb. So he'll get the Sandpit Power Bomb to get 30. That'll be he'll get Spring Ball. Yeah, he's routing this. He's way better. He should be doing commentary. He should definitely be doing commentary for this instead of us. Because he'll go to Spring Ball, pick that up, and then go finish him on Turtle Room, and he'll have literally everything right along the way.
And Toasty making his way into the main street while PapaSchmo is grabbing his gravity suit. So good to see PapaSchmo getting through the wreck ship there.
But he did pick up Spazer for no reason, so I feel like maybe he loses anyway.
Is that the unwritten rule of bingo? If you get Spazer and didn't need it for a tile, it's an automatic loss.
I think that should be a rule. Don't you think that should be a rule?
I think he got it for the upper Norfair comfort. I mean, that's what it is, right?
I guess.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get hype. We're about to see some Shack Tool Spring Ball action in a non-randomizer situation. So, unless I'm mistaken, I mean, I guess 100% is the only primary category where you would go over here in a speed run. The only other one I can even think of is like Nintendo Power Percent, which is an extension board. I guess Death to Shack Tool maybe, but don't see this too often outside of 100%.
And for good reason, because we're like just taking away, not even the Shack Tool part, that sand, jumping through that sand is just torture. Nice jump up there without space jump or anything. That sand is harder to get out of than it looks like.
Yep, and now Toasty gets to take a much-deserved chill break.
Oh, hey, Toasty's in chat explaining what he's doing. That actually is super helpful. Why weren't you doing that earlier when we didn't know what you were doing? I guess now he's got time because he's waiting for Shack Tool.
That's actually a pretty good plan, to be honest. Like, sometimes you're not 100% sure exactly how you're going to go, so take a few seconds and grab a few things along the way. Make sure that you don't get locked out of anything. It's a good call.
Yeah, but Spacer's not on the card anywhere.
He was using the time that he went to get Spacer to think, man. Come on, clearly.
PapaSchmo picking up those beta PBs. I believe he has 15 now. Or maybe just 10, actually, because he didn't go to Croc. Hey, Spring Ball.
We got the Spring Ball action. Very nice. I gotta say, I've mentioned this before.
Oh, PapaSchmo, don't get stuck down there.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah, he's safe. But Super Metroid is my favorite Metroid of all time by a wide margin. But I do gotta shout out, I think, Fusion and maybe other ones that like combined Spring Ball with other items. I really think it would be cool to have the Spring Ball be able to be used from a much earlier time in the game. And it kind of stinks that, an item that gives you some really cool, fun movement tech is like locked away in a place where you would get it very rarely in a traditional speedrun.
Yeah, I mean, Spring Ball feels almost like a afterthought, really. Like something that they added in, like, oh, that would be kind of cool. Let's put it in this room over here that you don't even really need to go in and get for a normal run ever.
So fill me in, Rumble. I think you have a better sense of what's happening here. Where is Toasty gonna head now? Like, what is he gonna go pick up Plasma or what?
No, he doesn't need to pick up Plasma. What he's gonna do is go get Crab Supers. That'll give him 20 supers. He'll go down the sand pit and pick up the sand pit power bombs, and then he will get the Mama Turtle energy tank, and he will be done.
Oh, okay, nice.
Unless he didn't realize that, and he's going to go do something else. But now he's listening to commentary, so if that wasn't what he was going to do, I predict he will change his mind.
Yeah. I see it now.
He does have 3 reserves. He got Meridia, or sorry, not Meridia. He got Wreck Ship and oh wait, he doesn't even have to get Mama Turtle tank. I guess he could get the Meridia reserve. Oh, then he wouldn't get the power bombs. Never mind. Yeah, he got all the ones except Meridia right now.
PapaSchmo taking a moment to enjoy the Upper North Air music, which I must say is underrated in terms of music for this game. And probably looking at the card to figure out what he wants to do next. And maybe he's going to head over here to Frog Speedway. And we'll see where he goes from there. Does he have 30?
He might. He thinks he's done. I think he's gonna go farm PBs and show that he has 30. I may have missed one of the ones that he.
Yeah, our apologies if this is a bit anticlimactic. I'm sure he's got it. It's just that sometimes it's easy to lose track of exactly what all has been picked up. Trying to track and commentate bingo, especially triple bingo, is a bit of a challenge, but we'll sort of preemptively say GG and then we'll see. And otherwise, if not, then he'll have to go just a little bit further.
Yeah, well, he'll just refill out the ship, I think, here. Well, let's count them, right? He got Croc PBs, Alpha, and Beta. Did he get Edikun PBs? Yeah, he got Edikun PBs. And he got
Mission Impossible, right?
He got Mission Impossible ones. Did he get... Oh, Retro Brinstar, yeah. Okay, so yeah, he does have 30.
Yeah, he should be good to go. So, GG to Toasty, because, you know, he did finish earlier. He hasn't picked any other power bombs up. He did finish in the Mama Turtle room. So, GG to Toasty for finishing. Very impressive here. That's a really good time for this card. I think this card was very challenging, and looks good, man. Nicely done.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, shout outs to not getting any missiles outside of Brinstar, because he picked up the 40 in Brinstar and skipped every other missile.
Yeah, how about that? That's a really good time for this card. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, official SRL time of 45:44, and then 2 minutes because commentators weren't paying attention.
Right. And PapaSchmo, in the meantime, is doing some Crocomire fighting. Everyone's favorite pet in Super Metroid. And we'll see what he's going to be up to here in the near future. Crocomire is, speaking of puppies, Crocomire is kind of like the puppy of Super Metroid, right?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, he's beloved by everyone. He's adorable. He's never done anything wrong. Yeah, I'd say he's the puppy of Super Metroid.
I'm pretty sure if you had a tiny pet croc that followed you around at the park, that lots of people would stop and be like, "What a cutie!" So yeah, I'm gonna say it's the closest thing we got to a pet puppy in Super Metroid.
Did PapaSchmo get the Wreck Ship reserve tank? I didn't see. Actually, it doesn't matter because he's not doing column 2 or row 4. At least he's probably not doing row 4. What do I know? I've been right this entire time. This has been 49 minutes of me being wrong.
I just like the giant T, technically, that Toasty. It's almost like Toasty put his literal initial on this card, because the way he finished it is, you know, the closest thing you're going to get to a T in triple bingo. So nicely done, Toasty. I'm gonna have to find a way to make a K. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna find a way before this tournament's over.
I think you just do like top left, bottom right, bottom left, top right, and then you have to do both column 1 and column 2.
Challenge accepted.
I feel like there's probably some way you could do that. Yeah, so you do column 1, column 2 first, and then you save the middle square for last. So you do column 5, row 1, column 4, row 2, column 4, row 4, column 5, row 5, and then you do the middle one last. So you finish with a K.
So while we're, yeah, it's a good call. I will see if I can do that. PapaSchmo is grabbing the grappling beam here. While he is finishing his run, let's talk for just a second about the second round. Obviously, the first round is not over. We have a bunch of races left to go. But in the next round, there will be a different set of 3 categories available to be raced. And the sort of goal, I guess, there are other people that could probably speak more intelligently about this, but the way Swiss kind of works is, generally speaking, you end up, you know, racing people of your skill level if everything kind of works out correctly. So with each passing round, you're more and more likely to have a competitive matchup in the next round. So let me double check on what is coming in round 2. I think we got all bosses, GT Classic, and maybe 100% again. Let me double check.
Ooh, RBO, Asger is saying.
Yeah, RBO will happen in week 3. I think week 3 is the first time that you can have RBO or low ice. But yeah, week 2 coming up here next week will be GT Classic, which I'm excited about. Another opportunity to run 100%, and then all bosses. For anyone who's not familiar with all bosses, it's very, very similar to any percent, but it does add the extra, you know, mini bosses in there, which, cool enough, allows you to take several different routes. I'm really fascinated to see what route people, you know, elect to do. The current world record is what I refer to as like a new route focus, which does spore spawn at the beginning, never collects plasma, etc., etc. But there are people that do Fantune first, and then do, you know, Dragon after that, and kind of collect plasma to help with Ridley and Mother Brain and Spore Spawn. But then I've also seen people do straight up new route, which also works super well. So it's going to be fun to see how people route that.
Yeah, PapaSchmo, by the way, is heading down to Lore Norfair, despite all of our advice for runners to avoid Lore Norfair at all costs.
Takes moxie. I like it.
Yeah, gonna do a gravity jump here to get up.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that. Okay, yeah, it looks like he canceled that one out. Fun fact, I don't remember if he has speed boost or not. He does. But anyway, you don't have to hold dash or anything here to get a good gravity jump up to this location. You can just stand still and basically just kind of move forward barely during the pause and then jump if you have high jump boots. So sometimes I think people make that jump a little trickier than it has to be on the inputs. But you know, whatever gets people up there, you know, whatever makes you comfortable, that's what you want to do.
All right, I am pretty sure PapaSchmo picked up the wreck ship reserve, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And I think I see possibly what his plan is. If he does column 1, row 4, and nope, I lost it because he skipped charge, or he got charge beam. Maybe top, bottom, left, top. Nope. I give up. I don't know. I see 2 rows that definitely go well together. Oh, also, I can switch to PapaSchmo audio.
I was literally just about to say, maybe we could hear some of that hype Lower Norfair music.
Should be here now. There we go. That's better. I'm sorry for not doing that sooner.
We'll forgive you this time, Rumble.
Thanks. All right, I'm gonna mark off. I know this is not in the instructions, but I'm gonna mark off the things that he cannot do in red, so that I can try to figure out what's going on here.
Coming up on, especially when you kind of begin the game, I think that's a pretty tricky jump in worst room in the game, and PapaSchmo nails it on the first try. Nicely done. Oh, did he just use an X Factor on those pirates?
I'm not sure that was intentional, but
That is amazing.
it's a pretty good accidental strat.
This just reminded me, someone in the chat I'm sure will be able to answer this, but I noticed something recently that I'd never thought about before. The key hunters in Lower Norfair can be damaged by a regular ice beam shot.
Oh no!
Oh, unfortunately, PapaSchmo ran into a few too many pirates there. Let's see, but he did save before Lower Norfair, so you can pull it right back up. But the key hunters can be damaged by a regular ice beam shot, a regular spacer shot, and a regular plasma shot, I think. But for some reason, I don't think they can be damaged by a regular wave shot. Does anybody want to confirm or deny that? And then secondly, anybody have any guess as to why that is the case? Interesting. I wonder why they went with 0 for wave.
I would assume they didn't think anybody would come here without it anyway. Like, they didn't expect all the stuff we're doing, so I don't think that they, they sort of assumed by the time you get to Lower Norfair you have at least Spazer wave ice.
I just wonder why they would have made wave do none, but still allowed ice and spacer to damage. I don't know. I just think it's fascinating.
Somebody probably copied and pasted some stats from something into another thing, and that's just what it came over as. You know what? I'm wrong. Deer Tier knew. They had good reasons. We just haven't figured it out yet. Plenty of supers for PapaSchmo to kill these pirates with supers too here.
Yeah, and let's be honest, supering any enemy to death in Super Metroid is a pretty good feel. Feels so powerful.
Meanwhile, Toasty is, I don't know, I thought maybe he's just here to kill Shack Tool, but we'll see. Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
Showering him with golden spacer. That is why Toasty picked up spacer. See, he did have a reason.
Plot twist, ladies and gentlemen. Toasty had to dot undone because he realized that he never actually picked up Spring Ball. So, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the Spazer special beam attack, along with the plasma special beam attack, I don't think is really used anywhere in any normal non-puzzle run. Look out, PapaSchmo!
Let me point out something real quick, just for everybody out there, in case you're looking for ways to make your life a little bit easier in certain sections. It's hard to avoid some of the shots that these pirates do in Lower Norfair, but one thing you can do, even if you don't kill them, is if you fire a beam shot at them, a lot of times that will sort of reset their shooting rhythm, if that makes sense. and it will allow you to kind of jump more freely through certain sections. So
PapaSchmo does have reserves. He has them turned to manual, however. I don't know if he's listening to commentary, he should empty his reserves into his life. Because that's why he's not getting any health drops here. And he's probably confused.
But the good news is he has so little energy that he might actually be able to pop his reserve and still have iframes enough to reach after. Oh, well.
Not if it's on manual.
Right. You're right. You're right. That was the whole point, right, of what you just said.
His other option there would have been actually to take a hit from the fireflies, which I think only do like 2 or 5 damage or something, and then go over to the
it's
energy tank.
1 or 2, I think, for gravity suit, maybe. It's really low.
Just pop your reserve. Oh! I think he heard the commentary. Oh, he's only got 43 in there.
There we go.
That should be enough to get over to the energy tank, though. Yeah, you see those fireflies doing very little damage. The spikes do much more. Feeling a lot better now, I'm sure that he has almost 600 health.
I do have to ask one question, not about Deer Tier, but just about the architects, like the pirates that worked as the architects on Zebus for the for the space pirate group. What do you call them? Armada, whatever they are. I guess Armada is not a good term for it, but anyway, they put a lot of spikes in places, but like, did they have to have the spikes be able to move? Like, the spikes at the bottom of that room are actually like rotating. Like, does that actually, like, even right here, like, does that actually do anything more? Is it more dangerous than to just have the spikes there? I'm pretty sure they'd be bad either way, right?
Not here. They're clearly not just spikes for safety's sake. They're probably like a giant shredding machine or something. Like they're like a garbage disposal. They're chopping things up, so they got to move around and get things to feed down into them.
Well, if they're a garbage disposal that's supposed to shred things, I would not want to be one of the metal pirates that has to work right next to it. That's like a huge hazard.
Well, they don't have a very good union. So PapaSchmo is leaving Lornor for now, so went down just for the Firefly E-Tank, it looks like.
There we go. There we go, using some iframe action. Very nice. Well done.
Oh, 5+ energy tanks. Boom. And I think at this point, Wild Anaconda is definitely unsubbed from this channel with Toasty killing Shack Tool several times.
Oh no. Wild, I don't know the full history, but isn't he one of the primary people that sort of engineered the bingo to begin with?
I don't know, but I would presume, because he's been around a while, so I would presume he probably partook in helping design the tiles and stuff. Seems like something he would do.
Yeah, and even if he didn't, definitely a fantastic bingo player. So we got the reserve tank here for Upper North Fair.
And back to auto. Good call.
So I guess that reserve was for the same reason that Toasty picked it up for the the 11 tanks square, probably.
Yeah, I would assume so. So he now also has 5 and 3, so he's going to pick up 3 more energy tanks somewhere. He may end up doing the same tiles that Toasty did, or maybe originally planned to do all 4 Norfair energy tanks along with row 4, but changed his mind on doing Ridley without plasma and ice and etc.
Good call. You know, considering that this is not randomizer, you know, every single race in this entire tournament, it is totally acceptable to be in the SRL chat, or not SRL chat, excuse me, the Twitch chat. So maybe when I do a triple bingo, maybe I just won't make a decision, and then like somebody else in the chat will figure it out for me along the way, and then I'll just do whatever they said.
Just run around, start picking up stuff until somebody says, "Oh my god, this is brilliant routing. He's clearly doing column 2, row 3, and top left, bottom right." And you're like,
perfect,
oh,
perfect.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
This is probably my most cosmic brain moment of all time.
I think the next multi-category tournament should have blind triple bingo, where you just start going around doing things, and then the commentators tell you when you're done.
All right, PapaSchmo taking a moment to consider his next options. Let's see what he's going to do. I believe something similar to what Rumble just mentioned.
Yep. Probably go. Maybe he's going to do row 4. Actually, he's got Spore Spawn killed. Picking up Bot Woony tank would be pretty quick, and then you kill Dragon and go pick up Plasma. Get the reserve from Meridia, and then go get Spring Ball. And I think at that point, it doesn't have X-Ray, but he might have row 1 done.
Ooh, we got some sandpit action about to happen here.
Yeah, gonna pick up these power bombs, I believe. I think this is 25 for PapaSchmo. Pop, 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 pop. No, don't go down. Pop, 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 pop. Jump, 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 jump. You can do it. Just walk and jump. Did he morph? There you go. You got this.
He's got it.
No, don't go down that way. Don't go. No, Papa.
Maybe he doesn't want the power bombs. Maybe he's. I don't know. Well, let's find out. Let's find out what he's about to do. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but can you really get to anything from this toilet situation? Because you have to have Dragon dead before you can do anything over there, right?
You could take Forgotten Highway.
Okay, right. But in terms of like item collection in Meridia, you can't really do anything until
No, you can't. You
after
can't
Dragon's dead, right? Yeah. I think when I played this game as a kid, even actually as an adult, before I started trying to speedrun it and memorize stuff, every time I'd get to Meridia, I'd get lost, and I would probably go through that tube like 20 times before I'd finally figure out where I was supposed to go to progress.
Yeah, no, Meridia was a maze and super confusing when you didn't understand how it was laid out. Yeah, you can't go there yet, PapaSchmo. Unfortunately.
Yeah, this room is kind of a bummer casually too, if you go early because you don't have space jump, and it can be very difficult to make those wall jumps if you're not used to it.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to get plasma before killing Dragon. Yeah, that gray door, including the door of the room he is in right now, only unlocks after Dragon's dead. Now, clearly there are ways to get plasma without killing Dragon, but they all involve X-ray and going out of bounds. I think. I could be wrong. Maybe they don't
Which
go
is
out of bounds,
another way of saying cheating.
Yes, they cheat. Exactly.
Personally, I think using X-ray inbounds is cheating, but you know, whatever. I'm just trying to rile people up. We'll see if anybody gets upset at that comment.
Super jump. Super jump sounds like cheating, Asher.
I still don't even know what that is. I've heard people talk about it for a long time. I have no idea what that means. I also don't understand what subpixel is or what all the stuff related to that.
Subpixel is the pixels that do the low sounds, right? Like the bass sounds of the pixels.
Right. Yeah. They're the ones playing the cool part of the song right now.
They're the ones that the 17-year-olds crank up in their car.
Oh, Lord. Speaking of rooms that are not fun without space jump, what's the name of this room?
Stupid, unfun without space jump room.
Oh,
I think that's
nice.
the official name one. It's probably actually just like below left sandpit and below right sandpit or something.
Shout outs to SpeedGaming 5 for the raid.
Nice. High five. High speed gaming high five, in fact.
Thanks, SpeedGaming 5. How was your stream? Welcome in, everyone.
Any new PBs?
What were you playing? SpeedGaming 5 is about to be like, hey, good luck. Sorry, I got to go get some food. I'll be back later.
Yep, exactly. Just dropping by. But hey, everybody should totally stick around and check out my friend SpeedGaming 3.
Absolutely.
I do know this room is called Mount Everest.
It is. I think, did some people call it Mount Doom as well for the isn't Mount Doom the Zelda name?
Death Mountain is the Zelda.
Man, why I always mix up Zelda and Lord of the Rings, or isn't that what it is?
I mean, we'll never forget the part of Lord of the Rings where Frodo uses his hook shot to get over the pit and find his Cane of Samaria.
Right. Well, my favorite Zelda dungeon is the Mines of Moria, so it's got the hardest boss, but it's very rewarding.
Ooh, laser door. Nice. All right, PapaSchmo needs to be a little bit careful here with 65 health. Batwoon is no slouch.
God, that hitbox is terrible.
I'm pretty sure Blackrock Mountain was from Harry Potter, right?
Since we're doing crossovers, Batwoon, everybody understands. Like, I don't remember the guy's name, but Batwoon looks like the boss in Zelda 2 in the 6th Palace. Like, almost identical.
Every good game, Batwoon is a side character in. He's in Kid Icarus. He's in Zelda 2. Like That's literally all of the good games. Super Metroid, all 3 of them.
Yeah. I think maybe like Gradius or something. Like I've seen a lot of shoot 'em ups that have Botwoon looking type bosses as well.
Is the Botwoon sprite just the first like free sprite that some guy put up on a forum back, 30 years ago? It was like, hey, I made this like snake sprite. Feel free to use it in your games. And so Nintendo just put it in everything.
Well, snakes always get a really bad reputation. They're almost like negative creatures in almost every video game ever. I'm gonna put this one squarely on the Bible. I think that might be where it comes from.
Well, not in Nintendo's Snake Rattle and Roll.
Is that like Rock and Roll Racing, but you play as a snake?
It's nothing like Rock and Roll Racing, actually. Also, the game Snake, which is named after Botwoon, you are the hero. You're eating those apples.
Listen, I'm going to say something super controversial, and I've been told this by someone who runs the game, but D-Web, I got to disagree. The snake in Donkey Kong Country 2 is not an ally. Okay? He's more of an enemy than the enemies are, because the way he moves is so awkward, and he's probably more likely to kill you than any of the Kremlins.
All right, but what about Metal Gear Solid? Another snake protagonist.
That's a good point. Oh, look at that. Look at that happy action. Let's go, PapaSchmo.
Yeah, nicely done.
Very nice.
Battletoads. There are snakes in like level, I don't know, 6 or something that help you get up the level. And without them, you wouldn't be able to do it.
All right, so we're getting ready for some Dragon action here. To be serious for a moment, I actually think this is the worst boss fight in the game. In most of the like traditional speedrun type situations, Ridley, I mean, obviously Fantine and Ridley are kind of what they are and can be very complicated, but Dragon is it's a terrible fight. I really hate this fight. You just get punished so hard when you mess up.
That is true. It's certainly, like, especially we see PapaSchmo miss that short charge, which missing that opening, you lose a ton of damage on Dragon. Did that bomb damage Dragon?
What?
No. Okay, I think he shot him with a missile or something instead.
Oh my god, dude! If that were true, that would have been really fascinating, and I would have had to go try that in the practice run.
Yeah, that is a good point, D-Web. He does have grapple. He could just do the grapple kill.
By the way, shoutouts to Beef Rubber, excuse me, earlier, who killed Dragon off screen in his any percent race.
Oh no!
Waited the entire time, over 18 minutes, and then completed his run. What a champion!
Oh, nicely done. He's got more resolve than I have. I tell you that much. Beef Rubber is the kind of person that would have done that on purpose too. So,
Nice headbutt to close out the Dragon fight. PapaSchmo getting that sweet blue suit action.
Very nicely done. Do you pick up Space Jump here? If you're PapaSchmo? I think I pick up Space Jump if I'm him.
I definitely do. You've come all this way, why not?
Yeah, there's always the chance that Toasty goes and picks up Ice Beam and invalidates his run.
I don't know why, but Nintoaster's spelling it that way. It doesn't even make sense, but the way you just spelled blue suit just made me think of Zoot Suit Riot, the song from the late 90s. I don't know if you guys remember when swing got big again.
Oh, man.
It made me want to sing Blue Suit Riot, but it doesn't really make sense. Nice reverse Coliseum there.
Cherry popping daddies. Oh, man.
I was trying to avoid saying it, but yeah. I actually had that CD growing up, and I really liked it. I actually think it's good. But one of my favorite tracks, I think it was track 3, 2 or 3. The bass line, instead of having a bass player play the bass line, it was played by a tuba, and I thought that was really neat. So, anyway, back to PapaSchmo. Now he's revisiting the place he was earlier, and very happy to see that those gray doors are shining, or I guess flashing, and he is going to be able to make his way up to grab the all-powerful plasma beam. What's the official term for a grouping, a collection of Puyo?
I would call it a hop of Puyo.
You know how, like, is it like ravens or crows or something that are called like a murder if there's a bunch of them or something?
Yeah.
So we gotta come up with a name for what it is. What'd you call it again?
A hop of Puyo.
A hop of Puyo. Okay, I can get with it. Is that the only collection in the entire game of Puyo like that? I think it is.
Yeah, you know what? And I think it's let's recognize the genius of that, because it's really a plasma tutorial, right? You come in that room from that side, and if you're playing casual, you probably stop there and shoot them, and you're like, oh man, I've got to shoot a whole bunch to kill these guys. Then you go into a room with a bunch of invulnerable enemies, pick up plasma, wreck them, and on your way out, you go, oh, let me farm up a little bit again, and you shoot once, and it destroys the entire hop of Puyo. And then you're like, oh wow, this plasma thing seems pretty good.
Pretty satisfying, yeah. Plasma is a lot of fun when you get it.
A grumble.
So where are we here? What all can we continue to mark off? Can we mark anything else off so far?
I think. He does have 60. He does have 60 missiles, although I don't think he's going to get all 4 energy tanks, so that might not be important. He has 9 tanks total, I believe. He's got 3 reserves and 6 other stuff. If he goes down to Mama Turtle Room, picks up the reserve, well, he'd have to go through the pits twice. He needs the reserve, and then the Mama Turtle E-Tank would be his 11. And the power bomb would give him 25 power bombs, I think.
And these pirates really like these oscillating spikes, man.
So if he goes to get Spring Ball, gets the power bomb, goes through the pits twice to get 2 more energy tanks, he'll have column 3 done. But he's still, and he already has, and then he will have row 4 done. But he will still need to go get X-ray scope and then go back to Mama Turtle Room to finish. Unless he is gonna get row 1. No, he never went back to Brinstar to get all those power bombs, so I don't think he's close to 30. I think 15 is what he has.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to point out, he did a nice job of correcting that door coming out of the Batun hallway. Nicely done.
That one Gamer is orange in Criteria because it has Varia suit, of course.
Yeah, that's another one of Deer Force's mysteries. Okay, heading back down for the power bomb, I think, this time.
Yeah, space jump will make this infinitely easier. Doing those morphs, by the way, does scroll the screen down a little bit and save some time on your way down.
There we go.
Now, I think that's 20, right? He got Croc, Alpha, Beta, and Meridia.
Yeah, he's got 16, so that at minimum that's 20. Or wait, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong thing. But yeah, he's got 20. I don't think he's got a 25th one.
Oh no, he didn't he bomb jump up and get criteria? No, maybe I'm thinking of something else.
I don't recall that happening.
No, I don't. I think that was a that was not this match.
See, this is another one of those things where it's like, I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to be misinterpreted. I think Rando is really awesome, but I also like that Bingo is like a legitimately different way to play that's not just normal speedrunning and also not Rando. You know, you have to think in Rando and route and do all these things, but like in a way you can kind of just start clearing things out and then just adjust on the fly to whatever you find. But with the bingo cards, like you really have to like really think about like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of times it takes a lot of adjustment to try to figure out what you want to do to complete these things. So I find it, I'm glad that we have a style of play, you know, within the racing community and tournament community that allows this kind of muscle to be flexed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Bingo is probably the best spectator version of Super Metroid. It sort of in like if you take any modern sport, you know, football, like the football field doesn't change, right? The Super Metroid Vanilla ROM doesn't change, and instead you're having to play it differently depending on what you're given that day. But everybody always plays on the same field, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And technically, you know, it's another thing that's neat about it is everybody is operating with the same amount of information, meaning the runners have the same information that you know that each other has, as well as chat. You know, obviously with Rando, chat can see better choices that a runner can make based on the other information they might know, whereas the runner obviously, you know, never has a clue. So anyway, it's just neat that we have this style of play. I like to watch this.
All right, PapaSchmo gonna pick up the reserve here, I presume. That'll give him 10 total tanks.
Hey, first try. Nice job, PapaSchmo. Did not fall on the crumble blocks, which I believe is probably something we've all done several times. And he's got that reserve tank. Nicely done. And let's see, where is he heading to now? Mama Turtle?
I'm not sure because that won't finish him. He still needs Spring Ball if he's going to do any of the Spring Ball rows, which I sort of assume he is because the other options are to go down to Lower Norfair. It's possible that he's going to head down. I mean, getting Ridley E-Tank would finish off, collect all 4 Norfair tanks and the 11 tanks, but that seems a little bit excessive to head all the way down there just for that.
What are those guys called again? I always forget the names of the enemies. The little jumpy sponge-looking things. Other than Frog.
Oh, they're Boyons.
Boyon. There we go. All right, we got some Mama Turtle action going on. I think there are 4 babies in here, if I recall correctly. I guess now I just realized it's kind of ironic that we call the 4 Rippers in Red Tower the Ninja Turtles, when technically these little baby turtles would be probably closer, but you know, I guess that's neither here nor there. I guess we can't call Mama Turtle Splinter, so
Yep.
so scratch that.
All right, so that is the 11th tank for PapaSchmo.
Nice.
And he looks like he's going to head over, maybe pick up X-Ray. He needs a X-Ray, Spring Ball, and 1 more Power Bomb. Toasty is finished, yes. All right, so Papa gonna pick up X-Ray. And confirmed, unless he's incredibly unlucky that he does have 20 power bombs. So he needs 1 more set of power bombs to get 25. I'm guessing that's what he's looking to do, is get Spring Ball, 1 more power bomb, and then now he'll have X-Ray, and then he'll go back to Mama Turtle Room.
All right, I got a really terrible dad joke. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
So PapaSchmo in that previous room using space jump made me think of Papa was a spinning jump.
That's
Nothing.
pretty terrible.
Come on, man.
That's pretty terrible.
How often are you going to be able to get in a reference like that? Come on, man. Holy cow, I'm surprised he got by those waivers. It's actually really hard to jump by those waivers with space jump without screw. Man, that joke wasn't awful. You guys just don't have good taste in humor, obviously. Clearly. A+ joke. All right, so he's taking a look at the card. Let's see, where is he going to need to head to from here? I guess maybe to go collect some of the items in Green Brinstar, possibly?
He needs 1 more power bomb pack from somewhere. Probably, honestly, Retro Brinstar would be the fastest place to go get that.
Okay, good call.
Mission Impossible would also be pretty quick, but either one works. Looks like he is indeed going to go to Retro Brinstar here.
There we go. Another powerbomb pack to get.
All right. Now we'll see if he heads back to Meridia, pick up Spring Ball, and then he is but a few door transitions away from being done.
If you don't have it, PapaSchmo, maybe did he go back and pick up the big pink missiles? Because if not, that might would do it. But he also could technically pick up the.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, he doesn't need column 5, row 1 anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Oh, if you have the top right one, I mean, I can give it to you. Because you're gonna have to get Spring Ball anyway to get row 1, and you're not getting column 5 or bottom left, top right. And you'd have to get another power bomb and spring ball anyway. It's possible that he got 40 Brinstar.
Seems fairly likely.
Sure.
Let's see, he got the 2. Well, he got alpha, and then he got the 2 where the reserve tank is. That's 15, and then he got charge. That's 20. I think he got pipe, 25.
Got the ones behind alpha PBs.
30. Yeah, I don't know.
Interactive bingo. So actually, probably the fastest thing to do now for Papa would be to grab Mission Impossible PBs and then go get Spring Ball.
He's
And
going
that
for
would give him row 1.
column 1. So if he's going to do column 1, he would have to go. Did he kill Ridley?
No, he would have to go kill Ridley. Definitely not faster than the other options.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember him being in Lower Norfair and getting the Fire Fleece tank, but I think that he got it and then left, right?
Yeah, he did not. He didn't get the PBs of Shame or kill Ridley. He may have miscounted those E-tanks, thinking he could do Lower Norfair and just get Firefly E-tank and be done. That would have been a great pick if you didn't have to kill Ridley.
So basically, at this point, we just need to collect Spring Ball and get 30 power bombs, right?
Yep. Yeah,
and then
so
finish him on the turtle stream.
Yep. Well, he could grab the Mission Impossible PBs up here, and then go get Spring Ball, and he would get row 1, and he wouldn't even have to go to Mama Turtle Room.
Oh, okay. So Mission Impossible PBs, and then Spring Ball, and that's it.
Oh wait, no, I lied. He needs to finish Mama Turtle Room for column 3. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, Spring
I'm
Ball.
sorry. I'm having a hard time. Like I don't know if anybody out there is gonna identify with this, and I don't know. It might just be my brain, but like, not only is it the words. Like I have a hard time sometimes reading menus. It's almost like I'm just so overloaded with information that I can't even like read any of it hardly. And so this is hard for me to read. And then especially when we start putting multiple colors on there, it gets even more overwhelming. Like I'm having a hard time like trying to figure out like which ones we still need based on the colors. I don't. That's not dyslexia. But it's just like hard to process information sometimes. So sometimes when these cards start getting overloaded with like colors and different randoms, like it's hard for me to tell exactly which one's left for whoever.
Hey, we get to enjoy the Meridian music some more, which I am a big fan of.
And we finally got an X-ray use in the game. Very nice. Very few things in this game feel worse than like running at full speed and then accidentally selecting X-ray and then just stopping.
which I think 99% of the time that happens, it's in Turian and 100%.
Oh yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite thing to watch is if top runners have a controller cam, and watching them do Turian in 100% is like this contortion of hands, and like it's almost like they're playing the piano on their controller, like hitting everything.
Yeah. I think Zost in particular, I'm sure there's other people, but I think he literally uses a piano grip for that section. Personally, I've never made the switch to do it that way, but I'm also lazy, so. The piano grip, not to be confused with the piano key necktie. Oh, death to Shack Tool.
A little too early for killing him. You need him for just a little bit. I don't disagree with killing him though. It's fine. Column 3 and row 2 still Azure. Yeah. We are 5 power bombs short for row 1.
PapaSchmo sparing Shack Tool that time, firing off that charged plasma shot back to the left instead of at Shack Tool. And Springball fans rejoice.
Hey, let's mark some tiles.
So when I first started speedrunning this game, I spent quite a while actually, like just kind of doing it casually on my own. Like I didn't know anything about the actual speedruns or routes or anything. And I was just kind of like playing the game and just trying to go faster, you know? And I remember there was finally a point where I just like, I'd done like 5 or 6 completed runs in a row that took several hours, obviously. And I got spring ball every time. And then finally I just realized, I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to get this item. And I PB'd by like a massive amount. So
it turns out I never used this thing.
Exactly.
It's pretty crazy how, you know, a standard kind of old route, any percent, you know, gets, what is it, like 22 items, and that's only 8 extra items, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's not many. When I first started speedrunning it, I was actually like it's hard to go back and remind yourself and remember what it was like to think about this game totally from the casual perspective, you know, where you're just trying to collect as many things as possible to make yourself powerful. And I remember being really fascinated by the fact that, you know, in all the speedruns, you only pick up 1 power bomb pack.
A lot of old route people will get 4 E-tanks. Like that's pretty standard to get 4 still, even in old route.
For sure.
So
wait, is that it?
That is it. PapaSchmo, you do not need this energy tank. You can dot done right now.
Let's get that dot done from PapaSchmo and GG. Excellent job.
Oh yeah, he already has the energy tank.
There we go. PapaSchmo has finished in 2nd place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 30 seconds. And that is a completed run, ladies and gentlemen. Great job, PapaSchmo. And thank you for the entertaining race, Toasty and PapaSchmo. Fantastic to watch some triple bingo tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Kip, thanks for commentating with me. This is a lot of fun. PapaSchmo, GG. Mad props to you. Nice job finishing up, especially after thinking you were done and then realizing you had to ad lib a few extra tiles there at the end.
Yeah, and thank you, Rumble. I really appreciate you doing the commentary with me. It's always fun to do some discussion with you. So appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. We will have more races tomorrow and further into the weekend for round one. Just so everybody is aware, for anybody who's just kind of watching a lot of these matches, we have to get every single match done in a 1 week time frame because the way the Swiss works, we can't know our next opponent until everybody's finished. So, there's always something new happening in this tournament. So congratulations to Toasty, who will move on to the 1-0 bracket, but that does not mean that PapaSchmo is out of it at all. In fact, every single runner in this Swiss portion of the tournament will get a guaranteed 6 races regardless. So looking forward to seeing what these guys do in the next round. And Rumble, thanks again. I will let you send us off.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kip. Thank you, Speed Gaming, for hosting the restreams. Shout outs to all the volunteers there, as well as the people putting on the tournament. GG to PapaSchmo and Toasty. And I will leave you as always. Always do your best. Try to be the person that your dog thinks you are, especially you, Kip, now with your new puppy. Have a good night, everyone.
Cool. I will do my best to try to be a delicious treat. Good night, everybody.